Did you know that Michael Jackson helped make the music for Sonic the Hedgehog 3? Well, it's not confirmed, but many people who he has worked with are listed in the credits, as well as many musical similarities between Sonic 3 tracks and popular Michael Jackson tracks. Look, these two even use the same note progression and jam sound effect. However, sadly due to licensing issues, Sega couldn't re-release the game because of this music. But when they remade the game in widescreen and HD, they decided not to get the rights to the music back and replace the music with the prototype tracks instead. Do you like the old or the new music more? Please feel free to answer in the comments. Also, if you found this topic interesting, please watch my new video linked in the pinned comment about this very subject. Do you guys remember when Shadow the Hedgehog had an actual gun? With the release of Shadow the Hedgehog in 2005, Sega decided to make him even more edgy by giving him a gun. Even in the opening cutscene, we immediately see Shadow loading a gun. There are lots of guns in this game. My favorites include the pistol. It is just a pistol. The wide worm shooter. Not the other worm shooters though. The retractor. It looks like a stick of meat. And of course, the Omochow gun. You may wonder if the guns were at least fun to play with. No, Shadow the Hedgehog was a colossal failure. I wonder why. Did you know that the original Five Nights at Freddy's had a Kickstarter? Yes, in fact it did, with a goal of $10,000. The rewards for helping fund the game were, for $10 you'd get a Five Nights at Freddy's wallpaper pack, for $25 you get early access to the game, and for $50 you get the esteemed honor of being a beta tester for the game. Oh boy. Now you may have realized, $10,000 is a large amount of money for a game as simple as the original Five Nights at Freddy's, and you would be correct. Which only begs the question of how different Five Nights at Freddy's could have been if the funding goal was reached. Would we get to see more polished and expansive gameplay? Would we get to see an actual story play out in one game? Well, I guess we'll never know because the Kickstarter made $0. Not all Kickstarters can be winners. Did you know that the game SpongeBob SquarePants Super Sponge has some very interesting things found in the files? When the developer Climax Group shut down one of their large offices, all of its assets were auctioned off on eBay, which included a development disc of SpongeBob SquarePants Super Sponge. When the disc was searched, people found some very interesting things. These things include unused faces, unused animations, some unused enemy models, and of course NSFW art starring SpongeBob and friends. Don't look these up. Another interesting thing found in the files was an entire document for developer complaints about the game titled SpongeBob Shitlist. The development for this game was very rough. They were put on a tight schedule to make the game and probably didn't want to make it to begin with. So it's theorized that the devs added all this stuff out of pure anger for having to work on this game. So they drew Patrick getting... Yeah, don't overwork your employees. Did you know that before Sony ended up making the PlayStation, they were originally working on a Nintendo console? It was made to be compatible to Super Nintendo cartridges, but also the new very powerful Super Disc format. But Sony planned on collecting almost all the profits from this console, leaving Nintendo with hardly anything. So Nintendo left the project and made a deal with Philips to release those interactive shorts with them. So Sony made the PlayStation, which ended up doing way better than Nintendo in future generations. In Nintendo, I mean, we got those Zelda CGI games out of them.
Zelda!
Link!
Oh boy, smooching time!
Thank God for that one. But we ended up getting footage of the Nintendo PlayStation in 2015 when a creator found it at a garage sale. It's really cool to see a piece of history like this be preserved for everybody to see, and I hope we get to learn more about this thing someday in the future. Do you remember when Nintendo tried to sell us a Super Nintendo game for $50 in 2010? For Mario's 25th anniversary, they gave us a re-release of Super Mario All-Stars from the Super Nintendo and it was $50. They may have tried to sell us a 17-year-old game at the time for $50, but I think it's only fair to try and judge it fairly and see if it was actually worth it. Super Mario All-Stars was a collection featuring Mario 1 through 3 and the Lost Levels, all re-released for the Super Nintendo. And on the Wii Virtual Console, an NES game would cost $5 a piece. Multiply this by 4 and you get $20. Don't worry, your extra $30 go into this small booklet. If you want to see a more in-depth look at this, please watch my new video about it, link in the comments. Did you know that in the original Five Nights at Freddy's, Freddy's a pervert? Yeah, that's right. Freddy Fazbear himself can't keep it in his non-existent pants. When Freddy is out in the cameras, he has a set path to go on, and one of those places is a women's restroom. And I don't know about you, but I find it kinda odd that a children's mascot is set to go to the women's restroom. You can make the argument that the ghost inside of Freddy is a girl, but last time I checked, spirits don't piss. Should I check again? This has brought up many theories that Freddy Fazbear is actually supposed to be a girl. Here's him outright admitting that he's a guy.
Well, I'm a big brown bear, but don't be scared. I'm a real fun-loving guy.
Freddy Fazbear is not creepy at all.
Fazbear Entertainment offers absolutely no guarantees regarding guest safety.
Did you know that Sonic partnered with Hooters? For the release of Sonic Forces, they held a showcase for it, and in the middle of the presentation, this showed up on screen. And then some Hooters employees came up on stage and started dancing just to prove that they were being serious. They announced that they would finally be decking out Hooters restaurants with Sonic merchandise. Finally, in answer to my prayers. They also released some special Sonic-themed food items and drinks. My favorite being Shadow's ultimate drink, by the way. And every hour, some Hooters employees would start dancing to Fist Bump in the middle of the restaurant. How awesome is this? If you want to know more about this or maybe some other weird Sonic promotions, please watch my new video, link in the comments. Did you know that the game Portal had originally started as a student project? As a senior project, a group of students at the DigiPen Institute of Technology came together and created a short tech demo of a puzzle game involving portals. This was a very advanced project, as they developed their own engine and put it through many stress tests, which all worked out very well. Over the next few months, the creators had released a few playable demos and an engine test. While the original demos weren't much, they still had a ton of promise and they showed how creative the team was. Later that year, during their college's annual student project showcase, which Valve often attended, Gabe Newell, the president of Valve, saw their project and met the developers and almost immediately hired them to work on this game in the Source engine, the advanced engine most Valve games are made from. And from this, the game Portal was created, and is now known as one of the best and most creative games of all time. It's really cool that such a widely popular game started as just some college students working on their senior project. Did you know that in the early 90s there were 2 different Sonic cartoons airing at the same time? Wait. Oh my god! Not you! Did you know that Nintendo Switch cartridges were given a bitter taste to prevent Nintendo from getting sued? Oh yeah, also to stop children from choking on them. Because be honest, does Nintendo care? Since Nintendo decided that they wanted to show off and make the Nintendo Switch cartridges as tiny as possible, this was needed. Like I thought the 3DS cartridges are tiny. They did not need to make these any smaller. But alas, Nintendo prevails, by giving me another damn thing to leave in my pocket while doing the laundry. But the weird thing about these things is that they are stupid expensive to produce. Like 60% more than a Blu-ray disc. That's what caused Tears of the Kingdom to be $70 rather than $60. Thank you for listening to me talk about pieces of plastic.